Hey everybody, it has been a while since my last update, probably a little longer than I had hoped it would be between these updates, but I am back and I've got, I think, some pretty cool things to show you today. As a recap, I'm working on the web version, or a web version of the game Neuroscape, which is an upcoming TCG. It's not out yet. It'll be going into Kickstarter in May. And I think it's worth specifying, this is not like the official digital version of the game or anything like that, but I have been given permission from Connor and Alex, the co-creators of Neuroscape, to work on this, and we are like collaborating on it a little bit. But I mostly just thought this would be a really fun challenge for myself. I am a web developer by trade, but I've never built anything like this before. I never built a game on the web before. So it has been both fun and very challenging so far. But yeah, having a good time with it. With all that out of the way, what have I been working on? Well, I've actually mostly been focusing on the UI for the game and kind of the look and feel of it. And maybe we'll get into the why behind that a little later. Yeah, so what's on the screen now is kind of where we left off last time. And I think instead of showing you all the updates all at once, I'll kind of step through them individually. But yeah, where we left off, this was pretty basic. This is pretty like placeholdery, just kind of like getting something on the screen. And so one of the first things that I did was gave it a dark background. This is something that I kind of always planned on doing. I think especially where that was problematic was when I wanted to highlight cards. Like in your hand, these are like playable cards, and so I've got this like blue background, and it's just very hard to pick up on that with the white background. So immediately, like a very small change, but high impact change to go to the dark background here. All right, and the next round of changes I want to talk about are like the layout of things. So what I have up here is just kind of from their latest video tutorial. But there is kind of like an intentional layout to the game that you see here with, you know, you have your main frame in a certain spot and your RAM in a certain spot. And I didn't want to do this one for one necessarily for the web version, but I still wanted to kind of get much closer to this. All right, so here's the updated layout that I've gone with, and I have the little outlines just to kind of show the different kind of like quadrants that I'm working with. And I've tried to give each of them some love, you know, like the mainframe section now has these little outlines for the different cyberware that you could attach to the mainframe. You know, we've got your cyber deck over here with a count, and that's next to like the recycle bin if you've played cards. The RAM area, I've tried to make just really quick and easy to see like what someone's RAM counts are. This player has one refreshed RAM, one running RAM. Just because if you have like a bunch and they're all stacked together, it doesn't seem fun to me to have to like count individually. So that's kind of how I was thinking about that. And then here in the, you know, your hand, I've sort of like fanned out the cards a bit to just make it look a bit more natural. Okay, so here's more like what it looks like without the outlines. Oh yeah, I've also, like the game log is something that I think is important to have, so you can always keep track of what's happened in the game, but it's now kind of hidden behind this little menu here, this little drop-down menu, and you can hide that or show that. And what's cool about this is it does retain your preference. So if I have it open and I refresh the page, it stays open. Same if I close it, it remembers that I had it closed. So if I refresh the page, it's going to be what it was before. And I think I've accidentally already shown this, but another thing that I wanted to do was give like large card previews. So if you hover over a card, it'll, you know, after a short delay, it'll give it a larger preview of the card so you can see it better. Which I did not have before, and that was kind of a problem. But yeah, it does this for every card that you can see, and you know you have to kind of pick good spots for them. So this card up here, for example, the preview goes below it. You know, over here it's going to show off to the left. etc. So that's been a big improvement. And then possibly saving the best for last here, let's talk about how you play a card. Before, you would click on it once in your hand, and then a little button would pop up and you would confirm it. But what's better than that is you can now drag it into play. And I've jumped ahead here to maybe show this a bit more clearly, but so the way it works is if you drag on this, which by the way, only a playable card will be draggable. None of these other images are going to be draggable, but this one is. And so once you start dragging it, first of all, the preview goes away to get out of your way. And then it shows you the play area kind of highlighted. And then once you bring it up into that area, it also highlights the RAM that you would use to play this card. And so if the RAM is not highlighted, it doesn't play the card. But if we're over here in the play area, that does it. So definitely just a much more fun way of playing out a card, and definitely feels closer to, real life card games. But yeah, so you might be asking why spend so much time on these things before the game is really in a functional state yet? And that'd be a great question. The main reason is because before I'm going to try to get a finished working version of the game, I'm actually going to be working on kind of like an interactive tutorial that you can play through the site. So that'll be sort of like a scripted game that you kind of step through and learn the rules of the game along the way. And so it seemed worthwhile to me to kind of get things looking more polished and just better overall, to kind of prepare for that sort of short-term goal of the tutorial experience. And frankly, I'm glad I worked on these things. I think it'll make everything else better, and obviously including the final game once I get to it. So I think that's all I've got. I'm really liking how it's coming along. Certainly looks a lot less embarrassing than before, so I'm pretty excited about it. But that's all I got. See you in the next one. Later.